Rob's gonna attack?
He has
Don't worry about it.
streaming.
We need
It's
to
for you
purge the
to not know.
minorities.
Okay, we are live at the Emperor's
Do I-
Fireside Chat, which was supposed to be yesterday, but once again, everyone forgot about it.
We all have lives.
We were too busy working around with the Shadow Council.
Yes.
That I'm not supposed to talk about on the stream. Oops.
Why does it say you're still offline?
Spicy.
It says I'm live for me. Perhaps we need to
Yeah.
refresh?
You're live now.
Dank
When you
refresh.
when you go live, people usually can't hear like the very beginning because like it takes a while for that live to load.
There's
I
the
like-
Well,
stream.
if you didn't hear it, we are live at the Emperor's Fireside Chat, here to discuss changes of great import.
Yeah, what are we going to talk about this time? What should we rant about for an hour this time, fellas?
I really like
Numenor's
that
not here, so that should cut down the length by about
No, no,
80%.
I'll step up to take the plate. Don't worry.
I was just gonna say I'll tag him.
Tag me in, dude.
Both
Tag
fired.
me in.
He's here with us in spirit.
I really
Slamming
like
us
the
with that
new,
everything ping. Most people put that in the announcement channels, you know.
Whew, you hit him with the everyone.
Slam that everyone.
I really like the new
Damn.
picture in the description of this
That-
Twitch channel.
That emperor abusing his
What
everyone.
picture? Oh yeah, I just
It's
added
not
that
the
real
emperor,
quick.
it's Io. I mean, soon to be emperor, but not emperor currently.
Oh, sorry, that was a slip. I should.
Yeah, be careful. You're gonna let out what the Shadow Council is planning.
Wait, Vest, you were about to say something about knights when we moved over here.
He was.
Yeah, he started a sentence
Oh,
Oh,
and
yeah, he did.
so
yeah.
stopped him.
So I think the when I was thinking in my head, like, I mean, I don't think it's like, oh, knights are terrible, we need to get rid of them all, but I mean, I think a couple of you guys kind of brought it up, like, oh, we should maybe knights don't have a place in the system, and I feel like it's kind of accurate because the whole system is set up where there's like responsibilities and duties, and all the ranks do that, and as you demonstrate your ability to be active and post roll calls, and then be able to lead people, and then you just go up the ranks, and it's kind of all just set. So it's kind of weird to figure out where knights would fit in it, and I think.
So fast. I hate to interrupt, but let me ask
No,
you
go ahead.
this then.
Answer up to
What?
Supreme Leader?
Would be the benefit, and I'm just throwing this out there, what would be the benefit of having a knight over just some other rank doing a job that they're asked to do? Like, what is, I guess, why
So
abstract that into another rank, or not even a rank, but just another title, another classification? What do we gain by that? And this is pro or against, I'm just throwing it out there.
So I think the problem we'll have with knights currently is that they're outside. He's allowed to be in here.
I think
He
that you're
just can't
asking the
speak
question
in the Shadow Council. The
You're
problem is
asking
that
the
knights are
question in the
outside.
opposite way that you should be asking it.
See, the problem with
You
knights
mean that
is
he's
they're-
asking? Well, no, go ahead.
The problem with knights is that they're outside the chain of command. We could keep the title if we move them into the chain of command, but it seems weird to have such a high-ranking position, or perceived to be high-ranking position, be outside of the chain of command. I think that's the
Right.
problem with it.
So, what you should be asking is, why should we move like jobs or responsibilities outside of the chain to some other rank? What's the benefit of that?
Or simply acknowledge them as separate from their normal duties.
He's back. He just can't speak.
Who's that?
Apologies, this is a weird Shadow Council mod room, but you can feel free to sit in here, but it's like set up so only like knights and squires can talk in it. It's because we're
He's just in our party for howling a bit.
He can post
Oh,
the
okay, yeah.
questions in the meat hall, and we'll answer them.
or on the Twitch chat, which I am looking at too.
I mean, the thing that I've always looked at with knights is they shouldn't fall into the general ranking structure. If you do keep them around, they typically should be used for something outside of it that doesn't really fall into the general use of a ranked member, such as a leader of a platoon or something like that. So whether it be something like administering the forums or something like that, they are generally outside of that.
But I think,
While
like,
you let the actual ranking structure deal with everything within it, such as doing events and stuff like that.
that raises kind of questions about the authority of the ranking system if it doesn't have those kind of like, you feel like the high upper guys should be running the forums. I mean, forums are pretty important. right? Why is it the knights are running it
Well,
instead of people that
some-
we've got like a meteocratic promotion system for?
So for instance, it could be Ao who's maybe not doing a day-to-day thing, but he's very technical, and he in the past has helped with the forums. So I mean, that would be a perfect example of someone who maybe would be lower in the normal chain of command, but could be a knight just because of the superb job he's doing as a knight for maintaining the forums.
Now, this brings up what I was saying earlier. Like, why the title knight?
Why any
'Cause
title?
True.
in that case, we already have
The problem with knight is it
title
has
system
precedent.
for
People-
the best.
Running the forums does not. All right, like Vest can do this on his own. Like
Well,
there doesn't
it's
even
not,
need to be.
That's not
My
a
point is,
necessary thing.
It's an
my
example.
point is that there's. I understand the example, but the point is to do something like running the forums is a bad example to me because why do you need a rank or any kind of acknowledgement that you're doing it? You don't.
Because it's a
just to
position of
ki-
authority.
No,
Running the
it's
forums,
not.
it means you have
If
responsibility.
Someone
It's not.
has
The-
to for
do
a
that.
particular issue.
Guys, the forums is not run by the one who runs it. That shouldn't be how it works. If so, then the forum should only ever be run by the leader of the clan.
Then that's what
Like-
they should be done with.
No,
If you're
but
given
they're not.
responsibility,
I mean-
you should be given a rank to like show that you're capable of having that responsibility.
With the forum specifically, you only ever need to keep it updated and make sure that the layouts work. You shouldn't be like in charge of anything just because you're in charge of the forums.
I mean,
You should
doesn't
adhere to
Ador
anyone else.
No, but
Ador already has a title for maintaining the forums.
No, I don't.
He's using it right now.
no, he is using it. We could just
Oh,
put in
the
a separate
builder, you
rank
mean?
for it.
Yeah, he's an Einherjar.
I mean,
The rank.
Because
I
of what
gave
he's
that
done.
more as
Static.
like recognition of what he's done in the past rather than like
Sure,
his
but-
job. But yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from.
So there's no reason to have. Let's say that we have a member who is not like super high ranked because they're sort of retired, but they do like they give you useful advice and stuff over a long period of time. Cough, Numenor, cough. There's no reason that they shouldn't be given the Einherjar title because we have Photon the Dependable on that list.
Oh yeah, I think that's fine with Einherjar. Is that what we're talking about? Or we're talking about Einherjar or Knights?
Well, my point is,
We're talking about. Well,
there's
we
no
could
basically.
we could just
We're talking about
retrograde
using the
knights
Knight
into them.
title. We're talking about using the Knight title in a place where you could use the Einherjar title,
It's
right?
true, we
Like
could do
basically
that.
for a high,
Um,
like a high up person who's not actually like in the chain of command,
yes,
but
and
they
no.
like give advice and stuff. There's no
Knight-
reason not to.
In my opinion, advice should not be a reason for someone to get like a rank. You can ask advice of anybody at any given time. Why do you need like specific recognition for
That's
giving
true.
advice?
That's true.
Like if you are going to give advice, then Vest could always like say this person has helped out in making decisions or given me good like viewpoints to look at, but they don't need to be called a knight just because they're giving advice. It's just again an
Right.
honorary title.
I mean, there's precedent for like giving out the Einherjar title to people who do that kind of stuff. But Knight has always been like an active role, or like it has the impression of activity and doing things and responsibility and
have, like,
power and such.
Einherjar isn't just about giving advice. It's about supposed to
I
be
didn't
doing
say
something.
that. I said there was a precedent. As in, there's people who are Einherjar who have been known for that sort of thing and also for just assisting with the clan in general. Like, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of a moot point because any responsibility you can think of, to be honest, will be carried out by someone who's of like an officer rank, Thane or above. Because Vest can just go to any
Aw.
officer and say, hey, take care of this.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just.
it doesn't need to be separate.
Well, I think
If you-
how I see it is the Einherjar is a permanent recognition for something substantial. The Knight rank, if you want to call it a rank, is a persisting thing that you have to keep doing. Otherwise, you wouldn't be the rank of insert title, job description here.
Right, but if you're
So if you stop
just use
maintaining the
normal ranks,
forums,
though.
yeah, if you're
then
doing
you're
something
no longer
persistently,
the Knight of the forums. You're just a subject matter expert until you stop doing the job. Now you can still be helpful, and we all encourage everyone to be helpful where they can. But when you step down from that assigned task, then you go. You're still your normal rank too. It's not like you're any higher in the rank. It's just that you're good at doing whatever. And then when you're done with that, you don't have to be a knight. And likewise, you don't have to be a knight to just give advice. It should be task specific. Everyone can always give advice, and I think Vest would love to hear from everyone, but um, it's a temporary thing. And when you're done with it, maybe you're not a knight anymore. You're just a venerable member, but you're still the rank you are in the normal chain of command.
I
And then if you
suppose
want
it's
to
just
step
like it
up
feels
again, you
like
can become a knight again. Who knows?
it just feels like we already have so little like officers and like higher ranks already have so little to do. Taking away some from it just seems counterproductive.
Well,
They've already got like pretty much
how I see
nothing.
it, it's a fluid thing. If someone wants to step up and they pass the squireship, then they can become a knight in title. Otherwise, they're seeking to endeavor to become that point where they can be trusted to do tasks when Vest asks or someone else asks.
What
And
kind
when
of
they're done,
tasks?
anything. I don't know. That's not for
Anything
me to
is
say.
so like terrible of a description because like I can't
Don't-
envision anything that they can do.
Don't crucify me over it. I'm just saying.
The
Just
problem is,
well, I'm
AO says
crucifying
this.
you. I'm
we
crucifying you not in the sense that like I think it's a bad idea, but like I want some examples because I can't think of anything that would be like a task for them to do. Like saying task is great and all, but like I don't think of anything that a knight can actually do.
I know, but I'm speaking in generalities. I want a fluid system that anyone can aspire to become a knight, whether temporary or for any reason.
Like, why
Well,
not just aspire to become an officer?
I encourage
Yeah.
lords to keep. I mean, because I think that the one maybe downside of this whole thing where we create these companies and this new thing where it's really focused on ranks is houses get pushed back a little bit besides the color of your name. But I think this gives each lord the opportunity to kind of create something cool for their house. Like I think Khan wants to remake the Vargar for House Commander. I think that's great, and he can continue like Nolan Eld are already training as squires right now. He can continue that with the Vargar in his house, and maybe that will let people become a little bit more involved in House Commander and kind of like happy that they're there. And I'm looking to do similar things in Dipity is just like get people to care about it. And yeah, I mean I think that gives the benefit of knights, which is they become whatever the Lord wants them to do. It can become a great thing. They get to just make it. But
And
yeah,
I think
that's
if
pretty
you're
much it.
talking
So go
about-
ahead.
I think if you're talking about like a rank or things for people to strive for, moving knights out of the regular chain of command and adding in more officers just adds more things for people to strive for. You can strive to become an officer in the chain of command, a knight within your house,
Yeah,
earl of your own family.
like chain of
Like,
command.
it-
That's more dealing with people, and then if you're a knight, you could do other tasks. I mean, some people
not
are
just
just
combine
not
them, though?
people. You know,
But
Like,
if you're
not
not people,
everyone's-
I just don't
I
think
mean-
that fits into a leadership role. I mean, just honest, it just doesn't fit.
What do you
know,
mean?
you can't be a leader and also not know how to speak to somebody.
Well, right,
No.
they don't have to be high rank to be a knight. They just need to be trusted. Like you could be a lower rank and still very responsible for whatever you're tasked with. I mean, they're two separate, independent things.
I think it offers, and I think Nolkron, right?
If
You
we-
were one of the people that raised the worry that there might be like bottlenecking, like you feel like you can't go up any higher. I mean, this is yet another track where you can say, well, okay, I'm what Harskarl of my war band or whatever, and you feel like you can't go higher or something. You don't want to recruit a bunch of people because you don't like recruiting that much or something. But you want to like accomplish something. I mean, you could for sure go and like say, well, I want to like prove myself in my house now, so I want to go and become a knight, or maybe the house has some other method, like I mean, the blood names in Commander or Kilroy or whatnot, like those kind of
That'd
venues.
be cool, but I understand that point and I agree with it. But give me a minute. But like that works as long as the knights don't take away any roles from the officers. And the roles that have been currently like, oh, what would a knight do? Seems like something an officer should be doing. If it takes away a role from the officer, it doesn't fix the problem that there's going to be like a blockage. What happens if there's not needed to be any more knights?
Well, I mean, the knights are not going to have responsibilities in terms of like they're not going to have like authority or anything that I give them or that like the rulebook gives them. I mean, they're just going to be like. I mean, I think similar to Einherjar, which you guys were talking about earlier. Which I mean, being an Einherjar doesn't mean that you can like
feel like-
order somebody, but it's just an honor.
It just feels like we're putting like it's putting like a square screw into like a round Did you flashed
Are-
into it?
Are you?
Ah.
Are
It
you
doesn't
saying-
work because just use Erringer. Knight has precedent. People like think they know what knight means. We shouldn't change it. We should give it a new title. Same job description, but a new title.
Well, I mean, they could just go with the Knight
Erringer
Orders. I
seems
mean,
like
would you be
Erringer
happy?
seems like it would make much more sense.
Because if they're
Oh,
like
God.
the Vargur, you know, I mean, they're not necessarily called knights. They could just be called the Vargur. For House Commander, I mean,
They just shouldn't be referred to as knight. Only because it comes back to if we're like locking in on that Norse ranks, it still doesn't fit. So having a more Norse theme like Erringer would be better.
I mean, the idea is that lords can do whatever they want with their house, but I agree that we should try and avoid the word knight because it'll be pretty weird if there's like deputy knights with like tons of training requirements and stuff, and then commander knights or any other house that are just like appointed as an honor.
Well,
Because
yeah,
then they're
that's
both called knights, but they're
that's
completely
kind
different.
of why they'll be Vargur, White Knights, whatever they choose to call the new
That's
Knight
I
Orders.
suppose, but
sort of why I disagree with knights falling under family lords, because they're all going to be different, which can be a benefit, yes, but then it's a cliquish thing like these knights are way different than these other knights, and nobody knows what any group is doing.
Aw, right.
Are they even comparable? I mean, what's the standard?
I love that. I love each house trying to individualize itself. Honestly, I love giving them
I both
character.
do.
Problem is
It
though, if you
don't-
go down to that, there's
No.
there's two houses. We have two houses. There's really nobody else.
Yeah.
You could talk about Dane, you could talk about the other ones, but like those, Deputy and Commander are the two houses right now. I feel like a Dane Knight's just not going to be able to carry any sort of weight that somebody
So-
that actually
well,
takes difficulty
So
to
where's
become.
where's the dividing line between knights in general under the emperor and knights under a lord? Like, is there a good split?
Well, Knights
or...
under a Lord aren't part of the chain of command at all. They're
Yeah.
whatever the Lord makes them.
There's going to be no more knights except the ones that are in the
Oh
houses.
dear.
Right. So that doesn't stop knights from falling under the emperor anyway.
I mean, they're basically just going to be ordered around by their lord, who
I mean,
just
there
can do
could
whatever
be-
they want with them.
I mean, there could be a House Lord at like a much lower rank in the chain of command than one of their knights who's like a jarl or something. Like, it's just a completely different thing.
I don't know. I like the idea of having it personalized. Oh dear.
I mean, I can't really see a scenario in which that would happen, Fall, because succession isn't hereditary anymore. So
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to result in like a knight like arguing with an officer, because the knight doesn't have the authority to like demote somebody or do anything like that. So
As long as we just call it something nice with lightning. You got
But I
to
mean,
you wanted to
that's
buy?
what
Yeah.
knights were before.
so you're worrying that people will think that they have the ability to do that?
Yeah, that's the problem. I think that's a problem with the title knight. If we just change the title, then it's not needed.
But I mean,
People
we,
think
I'm okay
knights
with that.
are
If
something
we could
right
think
now.
of something.
we could have made that argument about many other things, like primarchs of orders. Like Yarnveer was a primarch, but a Rekka
God.
recently, and like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think having a like cultural title really affects it as much as you think it would.
I mean, it's just what people think knights are something, and if we change the ranks and then knights are just, I don't know, I'm just thinking people's opinions about it. I just don't, personally, I'm going to just go hard line and say that knight just doesn't fit with the system at all. It just needs a new name.
Well, I
Just
think.
doesn't fit.
I mean, I can't remember if I initially like argued with that, but I think when I sat down and thought about it logically, I was like, well, the main reason I would want to keep knights is just because some people like it, not because they serve like a practical purpose or fit with the theme, which I think, technically that is the case. Is I don't think they serve too much of a purpose in this new proposed system, like a real defined usable purpose. I think they'd just be for fun. So I think why not put them in houses and say, help them drum up interest in people's houses and just make them a flavor fun thing like
Yeah,
that.
it's just a completely cultural thing, and even if, I mean, the Lord of the House could not even call it night if they really wanted, and have it like fit with a Viking theme, like have, I don't know, the Raiders, like the Vargur Raiders or something like that. I don't know. But,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
something.
then each house would sort of have its own initiatives to throw knights at the problem, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to demean them by calling them a neighborhood watch, but that's a little bit what it is.
What, the knights?
Well, I mean, what these new knights would be, because they wouldn't have actual authority to do things. They'd just be able to do what any member could do.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, any lord like could just make their knights whatever they want them to be. Like give them actual tasks within the house. Like
Oh yeah,
There
they could say they can do house things. I don't know what that would be, like
yeah, like
making a
I don't
lineage
know.
chart. I don't know.
Yeah, or like arranging a commander event night or something. Like there
Mm-hmm.
there could be things
House
like
Wars,
that they
bringing
do
it
still.
back.
Yeah, like give people tasks to challenge Dippity members or something to 1v1s. I don't know.
Oh
Something.
yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of different things lords could do with it.
But yeah, I think that be good.
So then, how would the knights interface with the emperor?
I mean,
Why did they
They
need to?
don't really. They just interface with their lord. I mean, it's not like they have some renegade authority that they're gonna go, do something that I don't
I'm
like.
just saying, no. I'm just saying I like the current flat system because we can ping pong ideas and span the Althling with all kinds of diverse opinions. Noom was a good foil to bounce ideas off while he was here, and now I think Hellstorm is as well. I'll jump in from time to time, finding the most egregious thing, and then trying to rebut it to the death, just to learn that we don't mean what we thought what I thought it meant, and that kind of thing. But at least we have the discussion. I really like that.
Well, my intention with the all thing is to have all officers in it, so it should be pretty similar.
Okay, so we're just gonna replace with the new COC kind of being your advisors then.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We'll have I mean, all the officers, all the jarls, all that kind of thing.
Okay. My only concern is, and this kind of stems from when we were thinking about knight captains versus knight errants. Some people don't want to necessarily like lead other people, right? And with the new system, if you're forced into eventually you're leading more and more people versus squad than whatever and whatever.
I think the problem is that
Some people might not be into that, and if that's the only way to then have direct communication in the Althling, well then some people might be.
But the whole thing's the leadership. If you don't want to lead, then you shouldn't be a part of the leadership.
I mean, it's possible to be an officer without having to directly interact with people, because there's the Thane position and there's the
Exactly.
Okay, well then that's more of an appropriate fit.
Oh, and Scald too, because Scald. Well, I mean, you have to interact with people. You don't lead them. You just you're a lore expert.
But
if you can't interact with people, you really shouldn't be going that high up. I mean, honest.
I'm not saying you can't, but
yeah, I think the precedent would be you would have to be able to interact with people, but there could be some strange example.
Sure. Okay. So like Thane or Scald.
Yeah, he had it back up again. Damn. Didn't expect him to have that up.
Okay. All right. Well, that kind of answers that question, because I know some people like me. Just speaking from my own perspective, like it's work dealing with people and leading with people, and I don't mind interacting with people, but I don't want to have to maybe necessarily take charge of other people. I'd rather be assigned a task and I can just do it and be done with it.
That's why you work.
You're an administrative guy like me.
Yeah, exactly. But I'd still like to give input because I've been around and I've seen things, but I may not be that top rank in the new system, which is fine. I just want people with good ideas to be able to voice them appropriately.
Isn't that what the Fireside chats are for? Is for the public to chime in on what the leadership's thinking?
I mean,
well, there will too be this Imperial Forum text channel, which will be a public all thing. So that will also be a constant thing, not just the Fireside chats, which is just once a week or whatever.
And what's stopping them from going up to leadership with their ideas? Nothing is really stopping them from doing this. The only thing that the all thing is that the leaders talking among themselves. There's plenty of ways for people to voice their input if that's exactly what they're looking for, without actually being a leader.
Sure. I mean, people might want public opinions, though.
That's what the Fireside chat would be like about, and same with the
Imperial Forum too. I mean, it
Imperial
should
Forum.
be they
Yeah,
should
like, top to top.
be up to date with what's going on through the Imperial Forum. They won't feel like it's
Right.
not transparent. I think. I mean,
The
we'll still
idea
have
is
the all
that-
thing to privately talk, but yeah.
So
Okay.
Imperial Forum, new name.
like the
I don't
whole
know.
idea is that everything is public aside from the all thing, and there's
I was always pushing Law Rock, but I don't think you guys like that.
Wait,
the all thing
actually,
was always being
Law-
talked about
I guess
in
it
the
was a
Fireside
word I
chats.
saw in the Norse
Well, if
dictionary
we're
that was
not
very
an
fitting.
Well, if we're not an Imperium anymore, the Imperial Forum doesn't make.
Yeah, let me find it.
We're
I saw
losing
a word.
Emperor. I like Emperor.
I might
We're
keep
We haven't
Emperor.
decided on that for
Supreme
sure.
leader.
I'm probably gonna keep Emperor. I was just looking for one guy to
Can
say
we
I
just,
like Emperor, and I was like, all right, yeah, we're going with that.
Can we just
Yeah,
make
I
him,
would second Emperor.
Can we just
I
make
appreciate
That's
the
what I'm
support you gave
talking
me there,
about.
Otter.
Can we please just
You
make
were
him
next to
the
me like
Senate
100% of
rank?
that game.
The Senate rank should be the top rank. I think.
Wait.
The
uh,
Senate.
Yes.
Give me Chancellor, and then in like a year or two, I'll just like
Let's replace the
mysteriously
ranking systems
usurp power.
with a parliament,
Yeah.
and we'll just say you just have to get voted in. Easy.
if we gotta keep Emperor, I change my vote to 1 for everything besides the first system. That gets 5.
You can't change it now. We've already set it in place.
the
I will not
votes have
allow
been
any
tallied.
kind of changing.
Yeah, what are you, Russia meddling in the election? Come on, it's already over.
Yeah,
Jeez.
But I
You
gotta change the
troll.
election now because we're changing the rank.
Troll confirmed.
No, because those ranks never contain the head rank of
I
Emperor.
guess
They
I do belong in Deputy.
You're not a Sindar. Get out of here.
Hey, Chocolate's a pretty good troll.
Chocolate.
So is
Do we
Ulf.
wanna-
The Lightlings can hold our own. Come on.
Do you want to keep
Hey, what
going
are you
ARAM,
trying to
or do you wanna
say?
Switch over?
You're a
you're
skilled
a good
troll
troll.
if you need to. You know.
When have I
You're
ever
control.
trolled?
I
Oh
don't
my
know.
goodness.
I-
Do we need to bring up the whole real time selfish troll?
I feel like
Who made a
Ulf
name
knows
for
me.
themselves on Anivia because they trolled?
Wait, weren't you the one that filled the channel with like 10 different Pokemon characters?
Hey, I was 8.
EO was involved.
Is that on the record? Can we
Pull that
persecute
up.
him for
Somebody
that?
check the transcript.
Who's writing all this down?
No,
One person on the
writing it
typewriter
down
in
in
the
our
courtroom.
mind. Do my votes count?
It didn't, but I think your vote wouldn't change anything because the Viking system got what 4.1 or something.
Numenor's changed his last name now.
Oh. Why are you messaging Numenor for his
Yeah,
vote?
I
he's not a
really
part of
wanted to
this shit.
see what he would have voted. I was very curious.
Oh, okay.
And
Fair.
Well, I don't know if he wants me to reveal his votes.
Reveal
oh wait,
them.
we're talking about for rank system, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ranks.
I'm not sure that he would mind too much, but fair
You guys
enough.
given in what
Wait,
you want as your
I-
candidacy for the Grand Platoons yet?
I
I have
veto. I
Trash.
veto the rank of Emperor staying. By the way,
You can't veto.
I
You
don't know if
have
you
veto
have that power.
it's
He
He's a
doesn't.
tribune of the plebs.
Does this mean everyone gets a veto? Then I veto.
No, there's no
I
vetoes.
veto that veto.
It's veto.
There's only one veto, and that's the Supreme Leaders one.
It's
I
already
love
been-
There is no
democracy.
supreme
Oh,
leader.
yeah, I'll take Jace off your hands if you don't want
This
it.
is how democracy dies, with thunderous
Oh,
applause.
okay. You probably
Yeah.
already re-rolled it, and I didn't
It's
pay
already
attention.
been done.
No
You're the
crap. I'll
king
play
now.
Korgs. I used to be a pro
Ironic.
Corgi.
You rule over this kingdom.
Oh, there it is. Oh, he posted in there.
The,
Oh, yeah.
the new.
Yeah, he was one of the first people I asked. So at that point, it looked like Old Norse was super unpopular, but then everyone like swooped
It's just
in.
impossible to pronounce it.
I mean, for the Norse, I think, or for the Viking, I think High King is better than King, though.
Ooh,
High-
like High King
but
of
then
Skyrim.
High-
I'd be
High
okay
King
with
need-
that. I mean,
High
Yeah.
King is only High King.
Unfortunately, I
because
am the High King of Skyrim, but that has to be your actual rank. You have to add Skyrim in there.
But High King just means King of Kings, which is just the same as Emperor.
aren't Jarls supposed to be like roughly equivalent to a Norse
They're
king?
essentially a king, yeah.
Yeah,
That would
So
make
the-
sense.
The leader was the High King. Actually, I did a little research the other day.
No.
I
Wait, there
actually,
was a
I would
supreme leader.
love the sound of that.
Yeah, High King's good. And
Emperor, I prefer
No.
Emperor
Just made-
personally,
just
but
made
it's
that
your
sweat.
rank, so.
there
I mean-
there were Jarls and Kings at the same time. I'm
But weren't they,
pretty
or were they
sure-
equivalent? I mean, weren't they?
I don't think they were equivalent exactly. Hold on.
I haven't played Korgi in a while.
Fun champion.
He is pretty fun.
Oh, we're replaying ARAM while we're doing this
Some.
again.
Some of us are, yeah.
I should have joined. Why didn't you let me know, my guys?
We're full
I mean,
anyways. There's
well,
a
you
lot of people in this
degenerate.
room.
Yes,
yeah,
there
dude.
is.
It's the public. See, this is why you don't need to have like a rank to have the say in it, because we're gonna have these things more consistent. Well, we should have
Over Jarl. Ooh, that's interesting. You guys see Meat Hall?
Uber Jarl.
Uber Jarl.
Uber
We need to
Chief.
go more German. We need to go Führer. We need
Uber
to
Comfagen.
Yeah. Yeah, Jarl is just the Old Norse name for earl and is basically just like a duke to a king. So they were both at the same time, and Jarl's just under king.
Conunger.
Yeah, Konungur, the king.
Speaking of Conungar, he is here now.
Ooh.
exactly at the 8 o'clock, perhaps. No, 5. Is being early worse than being late? I would say yes.
He did just get off work. He walked
You're
home
not-
in the snow.
If you're not exactly on time, I veto you. Can we institute the veto?
5
I am
minutes
the
early
only
is
one
on
who gets
time,
the veto.
and on time is late.
But
For
a
all my-
wizard is never early.
Nor is he early.
A wizard.
I mean,
arrives
never late. I mean,
precisely when he needs
what a great quote.
Nor is he early.
Wizards are fake, therefore they
Wizards
never
are
arrive.
never early. They're always
Hello.
late.
What are you talking about? I'm a sorcerer in the WA lore.
Oh yeah,
You're
I need to
saying
finish
that,
that.
so what?
That's like my next thing on the plate is a lot of lore stuff. I need to put some work into.
I want to be the the Nazi sympathizer in the W law.
Have you finished the handbook with the new ranks yet?
No, it's about 3/4 of the way done.
Ah, yes.
What about no ranks and instead it's just Vest's rank is first among equals? What about that?
Yeah, that's Soullight's a wing motto.
Hello.
sounds much easier to coup, my guy.
I
I'm
thought
not
that
a
was-
dictator in the making.
I thought that was the motto of one of his squadrons.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So how long has the Fireside chat been going on?
Only a couple
15,
minutes.
20 minutes?
Vest was terribly late. So
Actually, I don't know.
terribly late.
30,
Confirmed
31:42 exactly. It's been how long?
Hello, Thresh.
Nice.
I lived.
Yes, it was supposed to be
I
yesterday,
want to
but
go in, but I can't.
yeah, once again we all forgot about it somehow.
Well, I was not here and would not have been here either way.
I also couldn't have made it that time.
I mean, I was able to make it now.
You gotcha'd him, dude.
No, I mean, I am usually free like every Thursday. I was just busy this one. Numenor.
Well, anyway, I think one of the problems is I forgot to make the calendar, or rather procrastinated making the calendar, and usually that's something that I would check back on, and then that would remind me, but I have now made the calendar.
Yes, I blame you entirely. I was actually thinking yesterday, I was like, isn't there something I'm usually supposed to do on Thursday evenings? Can't think of it.
What could it be, I wonder?
What could it be?
Whomst could it have been?
Unsure.
Indeed.
I'm just a meaty frontline at this point.
Dude, you need to yoink somebody, dude.
I don't have it yet. There it is.
There's a yoink right there. Ooh,
Wrong one.
God. Wow.
Alright, that was a better play than him than a misplay by me.
Fair enough.
God.
Stellaris.
Oof, I got it there. So let's move on to another topic that I personally want to bring to attention.
Bring
Okay.
it to attention.
So how is the recruiting methods going on in this? Because currently I have no idea how I'm supposed to recruit people. I brought some peeps in who I think are cool, like this Otter fellow here. I
Hey,
have no
I
idea
brought
how
him
to
in.
properly induct him. We did it together. We put
Yeah, it was a team
Well,
effort.
I'm not sure if the current draft of the handbook specifies, but I already finished that part in what I'm working on
Oh.
right now, and basically,
Okay, so that's already done. Because I'd like
I
to be able
think
to at
it's
least
detailed
introduce them
enough.
into the family that I'm in.
yeah, I
'cause
mean,
that's cool.
basically, if they know what WA is and they want to join, then you just kind of
Yeah.
tell them what the rules are, tell them like, you know, what they'd have to do,
Yeah.
and then they join, and then you can tell them about their
Exist.
family and their house and
To
their.
get their signature on
Yeah.
7 different
documents.
Document
Yeah,
that.
like
They have
like
to
Versus
what
swear
I've
to
security
the
been
number.
supreme leader.
Yeah, like what I've been doing is just like explaining the basics pretty much of WA to them before like giving them any ranks or anything.
Oh
Like,
man, I
I
do
know. I
zero
just want to
damage.
be able to give them ranks.
yeah,
I want to be able to give them the family tags.
there's no family tags.
Yeah, there
But-
are.
Name.
Yeah, you can change their name.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
still
you
a
mean
tag.
name?
I agree with
Yes.
you.
Okay. So he is a Yormling of Commander. You have recruited him.
I did.
Yeah, we did. I'll have you know. I gave him the Discord link.
That is not how recruiting works.
There's
How
some.
does recruiting work nowadays?
Who recruited you, Otter? Just literally just said it like
Nobody has explained to him anything about what's going on yet.
Well,
so
then
That's
the
actually
first
not
one
true,
to
I
do
have.
it,
Does he know what
then-
like houses
Confirmed
and
fake.
stuff are?
Pretty sure that he doesn't.
I'm pretty sure it's
All right,
all.
first one to explain it to
Wait,
him
why'd
gets
you
him
ping
as a
Night
recruit.
Slayer?
No, I already
I
did
feel
tell
like-
him all this stuff.
I find that hardly
Rest in
likely.
peace.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
It actually really doesn't. It's the same family at the moment, so I don't really mind. I just
But-
like in the future to be able to do this autonomously.
I
so it's
demand
not an
you
issue.
both have a duel to the death on League to decide who the father is.
Don't you
is-
just take a paternity test for that?
Nope. they in the hospital they usually have a fight to the death.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And then they
Because
replace the.
I
leader with the
personally
clone.
would recruit far more if I was able to, if it was like a fair that I know how to do, and it was all standardized. And I wouldn't have to rely on some knight being online, or whatever high rank would have to be online in the new system.
Well, you don't have to have anyone online to recruit.
You can't add tags though.
No, you just have a Discord mod do it.
Yeah,
Right.
but
message
which is a high rank.
any of
Yeah,
the
we
Right,
don't
but
have
I mean-
Discord mod.
So I mean,
Just-
in the future, we'll just have basically like your officer, or
Yeah.
just any officer that's online. So that's
But
gonna
I
be a
want
lot
to be
of
able to
people.
do it like if you want to. No, the
'Cause
problem
the
is
problem
if, you
is if
encourage
people can
to
give-
recruit-
The problem is
gotta
if
make it
people can
easy.
give tags, they can also remove tags. It'll like
but
basically just
only
opens
give
up
them,
too much
like-
chances for
You
trolling.
can't
Only-
just give everyone in the Discord permission to give roles. That's
Well, then don't make recruiting a big issue then.
But I mean, we want people.
But nobody's gonna do it though.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah,
I mean,
me and
just
Nobody-
Hellstorm just
They
went
can't do
crazy.
it by themselves.
nobody will recruit if they can't.
the fact
that-
that you don't have the tag yet is
Like-
not a sign that you haven't been recruited. Like,
Half the reason
mean-
Solite wanted to promote me and give me junior moderator is because I spam messaged him for each of my recruits to make him give them tags.
Would it
Yeah,
be
well,
possible
you
to
know.
have a bot that you could ping to give you? the
Yeah,
Oh,
roles?
you yoinked him. Yeah, that would work. I just want something that's always there where I can always give them tags. Because I don't like giving. I don't want to give anybody a spiel and then end the spiel with, let me go find somebody who
comment
actually
on
has
that,
authority to do this.
In the Oriana's main Discord, you can ping at the Oriana bot to assign a specific color to your role. So it literally assigns you to a role, and you're also able to remove a role by pinging the Oriana bot. So it is most certainly possible.
Yeah, on
What?
another server I have, you can just ping the bot to set your role. So you can just do that as well.
yeah,
Wait, you could have
So-
Oriana bot assign commander?
No, well, yes.
You can get them
Technically,
to
but-
assign.
Like, let's
commander.
assume that the commander role was like only for a color role, for example, like decide the color of your name, and we decided that was something that was okay for people to change through Oriana bot. They
See, this is
could do
the-
that.
This is the one thing that Discord has over. Discord has under TeamSpeak was that TeamSpeak's tags. God, you just can't get away from Riven with a fucking 7 dashes.
Yeah, Numenor, I know that a lot of Discords have bots to do that, but I don't think we really want random people, random framlings just deciding their dippity or whatever.
I mean, there's probably
we
more
do.
complex.
You kind
permissions
of need
than
it
that.
though.
Kind of need what?
More deputy recruits.
What if only Scout and above could basically ping the bot
that's
and say,
still-
give the role
Ping
to
the
this
bot-
person?
that's still a problem though. It doesn't solve Hellstorm's problem because then they still can't get all their roles unless there's someone online to assign scout, right?
But the guy who recruited them, right? Couldn't they just?
I mean, they could, but then they could also remove the role scout.
No, the bot just needs to be programmed not
Yeah.
to allow to remove. Like, this is
Yeah.
I mean, you
Easy.
can,
I
you
just
can
want to
track.
point out, I rarely see, like, now, even a knight that isn't online.
Yeah,
And-
but
That is
online
true.
and responding to messages are two different things. I've learned.
And honest to God, like, is it really so bad for that person to not have that role for like a couple
I don't know.
hours?
We'll look
It
into
just
it more.
it
We'll look into it more.
discourages the
there could
recruiter,
be-
not the recruitee.
There could be a simple solution.
But
Like,
why should
if
it?
there is a solution, I
discount
don't
them?
see
Yeah,
it.
Well,
I
I'm not.
really
I mean, I'm just saying it does.
But why?
I
Why does
really
it?
don't see
Why
why.
does it
Because I
discourage
don't
you?
like giving somebody an introduction and they can't do anything. Then I'd be like,
What do
oh,
you-
now
what
we have
could
to
they
wait
do?
until somebody's online.
Guys, there's no reason
What
to
could
argue
they
about it right
do?
now.
I mean,
Well,
they're
like, this
friendly.
is-
They're not
this is-
recruited.
We're not arguing. Like, this is what this chat is for. Is for discussion, right?
I know, but I mean, there's nothing else to say right now because we just have to look into it some more. Like, I'll see what I can do with the bot, and I'll let you guys know.
Well, it seems like if we made it so that anybody who's scout or above, if they recruit somebody, they can ping the bot and say, hey, give this new recruit these roles, and then the bot can't remove roles. Would that work?
Well, if you can apply rules, you can remove
Well-
them. But
well, I
there's
mean-
probably a way. I'll figure it out.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
don't you
then-
have to put those pings into the bot, like, so you could just only add it so it can only ping to add roles?
But also then
Or is
anyone.
that not a thing? Maybe that's not a thing.
That's a good point.
But also
See,
then
my issue with
anyone
that
You could
is
just allow
like
people
anyone
to.
anyone could like spam the bot and just assign a bunch of roles.
Yeah, or
You
like
could-
Guys, like, it can't. The roles are specifically assigned that you can assign them to. Like, do you
Yeah,
think that this person who's a scout could immediately assign someone else a like administrator or
not
moderator?
that.
No, I'm
he's
saying
not
they could
using-
spam him and give him like.
But if you
all
could
house
control-
checks or
If
something.
you could
No, no.
control whether or not they get the admin or moderator, then you can
Here's how
control
you
what
could
roles
work.
they
You
can
could
get.
just deal with the bot. Make it so. Let's say we have an imaginary recruiter who's scout level and is in Commander. That means that the bot recognizes his permissions to add people of scout role and only the house Commander.
yeah, but then
You just edit the permissions.
yeah, but then
what?
a scout can just decide that any of the 200 framlings he's gonna give a deputy and scout role to, and say he's his recruit, and
I don't think that's really a big
Yeah,
problem
but then
though,
the
because we'll just have
recruiter, the
audits.
recruitee will just be like, no.
or they won't even notice because they just have this Discord muted.
Well,
and
it will be
doesn't
in the,
care.
the logs, so I mean,
yeah.
we can just have an officer come on and fix it if somebody does something like that,
It'd be
right?
great if we had some small ceremony that people had to take part in to be considered a full member.
I
Some
don't know.
sort of oath, you say?
Well, I have that for
wow.
Raider in the current thing, and I
know.
actually have a red thing there. That's something we do have to figure out. Is what is the oath? What exactly is it? Something
Yoinked.
you have to copy and paste something? Is it a couple of questions? Do you just say yes to somebody who asks you? What is it exactly?
Terms of current agreement.
I think
I
it should be like a
do.
copy paste statement that you just put into the.
No, don't
website,
make it.
you know?
Make it in voice. Copy paste is so.
I don't know. I really
Well,
don't.
the
think-
idea is to have it all in a chat there so that people can just see who's actually joined. And that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking, at least.
Well, you could put it in a log that they did it, right? You don't need to like.
Well, I mean,
wait a
that's
second.
basically what purpose the Obsidian Hall would hold for that.
Yeah,
like,
but just copying and pasting a phrase is really just boring.
well, I mean, how else do we get someone to do like basically say something that's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like,
God damn, man.
yeah, we're
It's just if you make the oath just to copy and paste, it doesn't mean anything.
I mean, I guess, but what I was gonna say is, how do you get someone to say something lore, like, if you know what I mean, like cultural? Like, we want them to like
Do
say
it like repeat after me.
that works too. That works
You do line by line.
perfectly. Good. Good.
It was
point.
good. We went and found it.
Yep.
And that's what the Fireside chat's all about, ladies and gentlemen.
That's why we're all here.
So we do that in voice or what?
No, in
Yeah.
text.
Or in
And then
text.
voice
It could be
maybe.
either.
I don't know.
Maybe
I think in
both.
text is more important
If
because I just
it's-
want
I
like a
think-
permanent record.
I think voice is like
Either
a
would
lot
work. in that
more.
scenario.
I think voice is a lot more cultural though.
Yeah.
I think if we did voice,
like-
you need to have a secondary person there
Text
as a
it-
witness instead of just one.
Text
could have a
feels
witness.
like kind of bland, and voice feels like it's a lot more involved.
The oath should be given in voice and received in voice. Should be replied in voice, and then we add to the records. There'll be a text channel saying such and such has accepted this oath, and then we
Seems good.
keep
Yeah.
track of that way.
I li-
Question: do I have to drink the Kool-Aid after?
Yes,
Yeah,
that is
I don't know,
absolutely
we-
mandatory.
Okay, though, we
It's-
have every flavor.
We will cut
My favorite is
someone in
Arsenal.
WA, and you will have to drink his blood. You'll never know who.
What is this, Dragon Age?
No, it's the companions from Skyrim. We actually turn people into werewolves.
We
so
just-
they have to
you'll
be a
just
part of the
never-
cult.
How come I'm
That's
not
only
allowed-
to join the Shadow Council, the High
No, no,
You'll
Council.
be
That's
that
also
one
Oh, right,
person's
my bad.
blood brother.
My bad.
But I don't know. We've already had multiple long discussions about these oaths, and my opinion has not changed.
Why don't we
But
just
you
make
can't
it
get
like
rid
the
of it.
Mages Guild, where you just walk up and they say, you can't pass, and you say, I'm the Dragonborn. They
Practice
say, oh,
magic in
welcome.
front of them.
Mages
Well,
Guild.
yeah, that's how we do it. They need to
College.
give us a video of them creating magic, and then we're like, yeah, you're in, dude. Don't worry.
Like if
Did
you're
you
only
even
arguing
play
against
Skyrim?
it, Fold, is
I've
that
had
it's
enough Valorant
awkward.
this.
That's not good enough.
That's not the.
I have over
I
7
feel
hours.
like
Yeah,
I
resign.
don't agree with an oath myself because I feel like it'll push more people away than bring in.
Well, I
But
mean,
it's,
the idea
like,
is
it's
we
cultural.
want
If they don't
people
want,
if they're
like-
willing to.
The idea is to bring in
Well,
people.
we're talking
who
about one
want
for
culture.
Raider, right?
I don't know
No.
yet.
No,
Yeah,
they
that's-
were
I don't really
talking
know.
about one for entry.
Joining.
I wasn't talking about that.
I thought we
It
kind
shouldn't
of
be for entry.
settled
That-
on. I mean, I think there's some promising things about entry,
I thought
but
the oath was when
it
you're
could
supposed
turn
to
away
take your,
good members. I think
I mean,
possibly.
wait, what do you mean?
I thought
That
you
was
take the-
I guess. I guess
Every
we need
way-
to.
Every
guess we
way
need
is
to
going to
bring
take
people
away
in slowly.
members.
And
Like,
my
everywhere.
question
in,
is,
you taking the oath to get your Norse name. I thought that was the whole dealio with the oath. Is
Wait,
that
but
changed now?
That's what
whole
I'm doing for Raider. Yeah, but Raider, you can pick a Norse name beforehand, but when you're a Raider, that's when you take the oath and you officially like earn it. Basically,
But
Yeah,
the
kinda-
whole
I'm
the
kind
whole
of moved out
conversation
right
about the whole
Sorry.
conversation about oaths right now started because we were talking about people wanting to have roles immediately and be able to have a way to know that they became a member of WA, and Solite said if
I don't know. I
only
mean,
there was
none of us had that, did we? We just kind of somebody said welcome and we just joined. I mean, wasn't that for all of us?
I mean, I saw Frost like in the general chat on StarCraft, and he was like recruiting for a clan. I'm like, hey, can I join?
Nice.
I read Yarnveer's post on the League of Legends forums and added
I
him on
was
Discord to join.
I was forcefully added against my will because
It's
Conan
true.
assigned me tags when I didn't ask for it. Dude, Otter is a Norse name? Nice. That makes it easy.
Hey, can we, before we go any farther, Otter, if you don't mind, as a new person, how would you feel about having to give an oath as soon as you join this
Ooh,
group?
that's a
Would
good
that put you off, or would it be something that intrigued you?
That's a good idea, asking people.
Do we want to give him voice to answer that?
You could type
He
it
can
in.
just respond in text.
Somebody,
He
somebody
doesn't
give
need
him the
to
night roll for 5 minutes.
He doesn't give it up.
Oh no.
Someone accidentally gives him admin.
He just
Oh, God,
demotes
he's-
it, becomes supreme leader. We'll worship the otter.
The otter is currently dead. Oh, he's dead.
Uh-oh. Ripperoonie.
That is his exact response to the question.
I accept that. I accept that response entirely. I thought it was supposed to be when you took your Norse name, because that was supposed to be the time where it was like, oh, you're actually serious now, dude. I thought
Yeah,
that was the oath.
That's
Yeah.
like
Forcing it on everybody who joins might be a bit much, but
yeah, that
That's
was
the idea, is
what
that
we
it
had a whole
pulls in-
argument about.
It pulls in other people who want the exact same thing. Like, it'll put off other
Yeah.
people, but the other people wouldn't want it, so therefore, what's the problem with putting them off?
it's true. It's
I
true.
I do feel a little bit that people might say, oh, that's a little like that seems like.
But what's
Too
wrong
much?
with that? Like, we can't please everybody.
I know, but I feel like
Well, it's
there's
like House
good
of
members
X.
that might get turned away. Is
yeah,
my
and,
worry.
like,
And-
why?
Yeah, but, like,
why
how
not?
It's
possible you want to be?
Unnecessary.
It's possible that it may turn away potential members, but we can never know that. And
also
the fact
never
that
know
we'll
them
eventually know
either.
it when
But
we
what
recruit somebody
benefit
and
does
they
it
out
actually
over
bring
the-
us?
It looks
It would
brings us
actually
a
we'd,
culture.
It's
a
just
tradition.
flavor,
We'd have-
basically.
culture and tradition and something that's unique to WA. That's the whole reason that it was brought up as a possibility of like including into the new system is to give us some kind of something unique, something that is our own. And what's wrong with wanting to have that over the possibility of turning a few people away?
Why do we
I mean,
have to
it's not like we
rather
have
run
no
away?
culture if we don't do that when you join. I mean,
Right, but it's not like we're gonna gain 30 members if we don't have this.
I'd much rather have a bunch of different members with all different opinions than all the people with the same opinions, when you're going to have a far smaller base to run out of. If we do something like that, we could lose a lot of people, and you could maybe not. But I just don't see a true benefit out of it that we'll gain.
I think the benefit is that, like, if we
I
go
don't-
down this path, we want people who are, like, wanting to participate. The benefit is we're not going to have, like, 40 people in a scout role who barely pay attention to anything going on. It
And
might
we're not
trim
going to
down
have 40
members, but
people.
the
not
members
gonna
will
have-
be more active, which is technically, I mean, that's more members, really, if you think about it. It's not just a number. You need people who actually show up and type.
We're also not going to have like several people who join and then are going to say no to every other change because it's pointless and meaningless, and there's no reason to have it because when they joined, there was nothing like that to like spark it. And honestly, like I don't see like you could easily say that we'll lose a lot of people, but you could easily say that if we don't do this, we'll lose a lot of people. Where are the numbers? Like, there's no definitive way, one way or the other. And I don't think people agreeing to the oath thing would force everybody down the same line of thought. Like,
It
people already
seems-
have diverging opinions of the people who agree to this in many other topics that we've discussed. Like, we've never had like a unanimous, all right, we all agree with this one thing. We still have plenty of people who had differing opinions.
It seems less likely to me, in my view, that there would be somebody who joined and they goes, "These guys don't have an oath. Oh, this is stupid," and then leaves. Like,
Yeah, but
it seems less likely.
But someone who wants to join and just sees this as some other community that that doesn't interest them could easily be the exact same scenario.
I just feel like we'd be having more of a chance of losing potential members that could be great than gaining a potential member that'll be great.
And I
That's
think the
why
other way.
If anything, we should by far not do it as request of joining.
I
That
think
would
the
make
exact
sense.
opposite, though.
If it's gonna,
I don't
if we're
think
gonna
there's
get
any-
rid of people who wouldn't want to swear in the first place, the question is, did we even want those people in the first place?
I mean,
Could I just put
Maybe I'm not
there?
sure, but I think maybe there's people that would get turned away.
The rules of a community is too much for you, then I don't know if you're gonna like survive in a community, dude.
Was that not the same argument that people could easily have made back in old StarCraft where people had to salute or
Yeah.
call people sir? Like, it's
but we do have to salute again.
Do we have
right.
to now?
What my point is that like we've had things like this in the past where we've had like things at the beginning that a new member had to do, like before joining, like, or realize that as soon as they joined they had to do this, or to get somewhere they had to keep doing this, like they had to keep constantly doing it. That could have easily turned people away. And we had plenty of people turned away by the fact that they didn't want to change their name on StarCraft to WA-, but we did it regardless, and we did fine. And I know that was StarCraft, but like that's
There's-
my point, is that we've had people who didn't care enough, like didn't care. Well, wow, this is something I'm not gonna do. Like, we've had some people like that, but we also had plenty of people who said, "All right, sure, I'll change my name."
Yeah, and
I
we're
feel
still
like it's a
planning to have
difference
oaths, just
between
not.
a tag and an oath, though.
Well, are you guys that are all pro oath? Are you talking to entry, or because I'm definitely in favor of it to become a raider? I think that's totally fine. I don't think anybody objects to that.
raider.
But
Yeah, we're having an oath to go into like a higher rank is fine, and like you've already been a part of WA and you're being promoted because you obviously like are doing something within WA that you're being promoted for, and
I
I'm
don't-
talking about
I
it
don't
in
see
general.
how
I
there's
don't.
any difference between taking an oath to become a scout versus becoming a raider, because don't we want people to still follow the rules and
We could-
do all the
There's-
responsibilities?
There's a
as-
big difference because over time, opinions and feelings will change. Like, I know when I originally joined WA, I was all for it because I was a nerd kid, but I'm not as keen into getting that deep into those things anymore.
It's because you're old.
It's things
I mean-
change over time. Their opinion may change. They may be more into it. They may not be more into it, and that's the way you weed out at the end who would be right or not when you get to that higher rank.
I personally don't care
I mean,
whether
it
it's
doesn't
at the
take that
beginning
long
or
to
it's
get to
at
the high
later.
rank, though. Raiders like what, third up? I mean, it's like
I mean,
a
it
month.
still takes like 3 months or something.
I think the rank requirement is like a month and a half of activity.
I'm not sure anymore.
I
don't know
believe
if
it's
it is.
2
But
months.
wait,
They're all rounded, so I think it's 2 months for raider.
Yeah,
I mean-
If I remember right.
amazingly long.
It's also like if you just swear an oath at the start. I mean, there's
Someone
that,
new to
but then
this
there's when you
hopefully.
swear it when you're climbing the ranks. It's like it's more of a sense of achievement. You know, like you want to.
Well, you will get the Norse name. I mean, I think that's something that we all thought, well, that should be like sort of a big thing where you post in the Obsidian Hall, like, oh, he's earned his Norse name. That's a big thing. You'll get it Raider regardless. But then the oath thing, I mean, and I'll be honest, I'm totally fine with it, like to join. I'm kind of like
So
pro
who's
that,
against,
but I'm
Seems
kind
like
of playing
you
devil's
do that.
advocate, really.
who's against it on joining, and who's against it? Like, you don't have to
Let's
give a
go
lot,
around. Let's have a vote.
but who's against it upon joining, and who's against it on Raider and wants it to be when it's joining?
I don't think
go
anybody
down.
is against it on Raider, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
Let's
like
just get concrete opinions. Can we just go down like?
like
down
who
the
wants it
Discord
at the
chat
beginning and who
see?
doesn't want it at the beginning?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, Lightning, what do you think? For or
I
against?
think it's totally fine to have it for Scout. I'd rather have people who are willing to commit and put in the time than people who will just join and leave immediately or possibly troll. Like, I think it's just way better to weed out those who are actually interested in being part of us.
Okay.
I think I like it at the beginning, but that's they're very close. I slightly lean towards beginning.
Okay, Fold Method?
I mean, I very much disagree with it being at Scout, and I do not want that to be a thing. And I think it's fine to be a higher rank like Raider. I originally suggested Sergeant in the old ranks. I'm not sure what that translates to in the new ones.
Raider. Well, I think Raider is technically what Master Corporal was, basically.
Oh yes, I was saying Sergeant though because you swear an oath in to become part of the leadership. You're like an officer of your squadron at that point. Like I think that's the best place to put it. Like when you're going into a leadership position, sort of, but like a very low leadership position.
All right, Yambol?
I disagree with it being at the start. I don't really want to turn away people. Like, personally. And, like, I agree with it being there to enter leadership. Because that's when, like, I feel like that's when an oath would mean the most.
Okay.
Personally.
All right, Kusiak?
It definitely means the most. I would say at the beginning, but I would like to see maybe a probationary period, like give it a week or two, and then do the official swearing in at like a Fireside or something.
So you're like slightly leaning towards beginning, but you're kind of split down the middle.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the beginning, but not like a hard has to be. Hey, welcome to clan. Here, sign your life away. I think they need to just see what we're about, join a couple games, get to feel of it, and be like, yes, I want to be here. Like enough time to make that decision.
So far we have two people who are leaning towards beginning. We have two people who vehemently want it at the end, and then we have one person who voted for the beginning. Nokron?
Yes, it's my turn, and I'm personally for it. I think it's interesting.
You're for it for being the beginning, or?
I'm for it for being at the start. I think it's a good way to introduce it. I do like Kusiag's mention of having a probationary period. I think that might be a pretty neat way to solidify. We give you the tanks, and then 3 days or 4 days or whenever later, we summon you to the Supreme Leader himself, and he gives you the question, do you swear? And then they make the decision there. You can make a ceremony kind of out of it. Maybe once a week, all of the guys who haven't sworn their oath are brought up and said, do you want to swear your oath today?
And then they have to all fight each other, and the last one alive.
Kiss the ring, right?
So I'm going to go for 4. Solite?
Aye.
So is that 4?
Yes.
And Ulf?
I'm still leaning with it being tied to a higher rank. I mean, it's just because of the ability to change and grow over time. I feel like they will even a week. I feel like isn't enough time to get associated completely.
So we have 3 people
Maybe
who
we should consider
want it at the beginning,
more
2
than just
people who
one
are
oath,
leaning towards the beginning, and then 2 people who want it again. So we're kind of split down the middle in the
We've
real
got
sense.
a 63% approval rating for 4 right now. So we're pretty. We got a the fair majority, but clearly there's some more work to be done here.
Clearly, Vest
We
needs
may
to lay down the
we-
law.
Yeah, Vest can. I don't know, Vest. Do you want to have a say in this? I thought you'd just be supreme veto leader in this.
I mean, you've heard arguments for both sides, and if you want, we could keep continuing this in the all thing
I mean,
further. But
we've
I like
already had
Kusiag's idea personally. I think that could be
we've
kind of a
already-
cool ceremony.
we've already had like multiple long discussions about this and sort of just came to a conclusion already, though.
I'm
Well,
willing to
have to because we
compromise to
have
Kusiag's
differences
idea.
here.
well, the
I mean,
reason why I'm not
individually-
saying that it's a definitive conclusion is because like two of us have specifically stated that we aren't like for one side or the other. We're leaning towards one, but like if you take that out, it's really like just 3-2.
Okay, well, it means we are like that's the problem is we have like vague majority, but not quite.
Yeah,
I think
that's the reason I'm asking if we want
I
to.
think two things need to be done forward to get people more on board. I think we need to like actually put down the oath itself. Like, what is the wording of the oath?
I mean,
Because
Numenor, you could
difference
literally
between-
type, and we
Yeah.
would hear, like we
I
can
mean, there's-
see your messages.
There's a difference between like a paragraph oath that tells you to swear your life away, or like a sentence or two oath. There's a big difference between that. Maybe once we get the wording of it down properly, then we can feel like if that's a thing to do at the start or thing to do at a rank. And then I think the second point we need to figure out if they're given. We're all agreeing that an oath is going to happen, whether it's going to be at the beginning or at a later rank. We should decide how the oath happens. I think that's what we should do next because yeah, Foldmaver's right. We just keep going around in circles. So just having some definite things to talk about might be a good idea to move forward here. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I just guess decide when. Like, I agree with Ulfold. I think we should be given time in WA before swearing an oath.
Can we just point out though the fact if they don't swear the oath, they're not immediately eliminated from becoming a WA member. It's just like, hey, do you want to swear the oath and like commit to being us, or do you want like some more time before you swear it?
I
I
feel
think
like
that would
it's
probably be a better
pretty
idea to put
if
forward.
we make the oath optional, but you're gonna need to swear it to be promoted up. I feel that might be an idea here.
Like
mean,
past the
I
first
think
rank or
it's-
something. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's better just to leave it tied to a rank and don't have anyone like below the
Well-
rank swear it yet. Just have them swear it once.
So,
they're
well,
up
the
there.
problem
Yeah, I don't
is,
think
do you
that
want
really
everyone
fits
just
in.
hanging out at the base rank? You know,
If they don't want
Why-
to take an
why
oath,
is that
I mean,
the
if
question?
the oath
Just
isn't
wanna-
that complex, I
you
mean,
want to just cull people real early before they get higher up and then cause a stink, or
yeah, I mean, if you can't commit
We're
yourself to
talking
like
Raider.
agreeing to something, I mean, it's
Yeah,
not that hard.
they're basically at a rank that you get to by being slightly active.
Kusiak's talking about
like,
the one where you
I
wouldn't
forget
be
the
able to be
exact
promoted.
requirements, but
Yeah,
let me ask you guys this
there's
question.
some requirements.
Yeah.
but-
If you guys really think about it, like honest
Yeah.
thought, would you have sworn an oath the first time you joined this community?
Yes.
I would have.
Yeah.
I think I probably would
Lightning
have.
would've-
With an
Lightning would've
unbiased
technically
opinion
had
of
oath,
what
but-
you think of it now.
I 100% would have.
I mean,
I was
I
willing
don't-
to change my name. Like I was willing to like see what the community had to offer, see if it was a basic clan. At first glance, it looked like just another clan, so I didn't do anything with it. Like I didn't join the channel, and for like months, I found out, oh, it's still alive. Well, I mean, clearly it's not just any other clan that I've seen on StarCraft, so I might as well check it out. That is literally the thought process that went through my head at the time. So yes, I would have sworn
mean-
an oath, and it would have made it a lot more interesting, and I wouldn't have been gone for like the first 3 months that I had joined.
I suppose I mean, honestly, I probably wouldn't have at the beginning, personally, but mainly because I was forced to. I didn't really notice I was a part of you guys.
I'm
until, like,
allowed to
more-
have my own opinions, Numenor.
But if Lightning would have easily convinced me because it's a pretty neat kind of scenario things.
I
going on
mean-
here. I don't think it would have been that hard.
I mean, even if I did swear an oath, I would just think this is really weird and unnecessary, and I would forget about it instantly. Like,
Okay, well then that's fine. Then we don't like what, like we want.
Then
people
what's
who
the
are
point of the
committed to
oth
this.
if they
yeah,
aren't
there's no
actually?
reason to really
If
have
it's
an oath.
weeding people out, I think that was like the original purpose of it.
I mean, I
I
don't think that was the original purpose at all, but
I mean,
I asked
it
to
kind of
join,
is the
so I
practical
would've sworn.
purpose.
I mean,
I mean,
the
it's just agreeing to the rules. If you can't agree to the rules of a community, then there's no point of you being there. I mean, it's just as simple as that. If you can't agree to the terms and conditions, then leave, or just scroll through the terms and conditions and don't read them.
You know, thinking about it later, I think I'm leaning towards the oath being sworn later. Now that I'm
Well, I'm just
further.
thinking when you first
feel like
join,
it
you
should
swear
be
the
on
oath.
your
You're
first
not gonna
promotion.
think about it because, like, you won't hold any stock into it until you're interested later, anyways.
I feel like it should be
So
your
there's
first
really no
promotion.
point to it at the start.
And when you're interested in it later, that's usually at the point where you are starting to get into that higher rank, such as Raider.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like when I was first recruited, I was sort of just inactive for a couple weeks, and then I think like Solite invited me to a couple games or something, and I started reading a bit about like what WA was, and then I got into it. Like an oath wouldn't have really meant anything at all to me right
What
at the
about
start.
a different? Okay, so let's think about it this way. So Raider, you need to swear an oath, but theoretically, a scout could swear the oath earlier, and then maybe they'd get on a bit of a quicker track to being promoted. That might be an idea. If you swear the oath at a lower level, you're showing your commitment.
We should make
Might
it
be an
like,
idea to like fast track them up to a higher rank
yeah.
because
I
they're
think it should
committed.
be suggested, sort of like how picking a Norse name in the old time was suggested as being favorable. And if they take the hint, then they can get on board earlier. Which,
Yeah,
I mean, it's not do or die, but I mean, it shows their
it's
interest
all
earlier.
optional.
Yeah, so
If you're super interested in it and you swear an oath and you do that all out at the start, I don't think like holding a arbitrary time barrier behind you participating further is fair.
I mean, you can participate as far as you would at the higher rank either way. How is not being a higher rank stopping you from participating?
It would just seem weird that if somebody joined, yeah, and they joined a week, they joined and they just chilled around, they didn't really do much. But then another person joined 2 weeks, or let's say a month after that, he's super active, he like does all of the culture stuff, he like swears his oaths, he has a Norse name, all of that stuff. I feel like that guy should get rewarded for going above and beyond, as opposed to the other guy who's just been sitting around, just not like he's being
I mean-
active, sure, but you know the other guy is clearly more active, right?
Yeah,
I
that
don't
guy
know if,
will
like,
be rewarded by
by what?
eventually being promoted, and the other guy will be sitting at private or scout or whatever. What?
Well, I mean, the current rank like restrictions don't allow for that.
How do they
The
not
current
allow
setup
for?
that are being planned, or the current ones that
Yeah,
are
the
in place
current ones that are
exactly
being
right
planned.
now? Okay.
How? What do you mean? What don't they allow for?
The barrier is the time. It isn't
Yeah,
anything else.
they'll be promoted if they're committed and
Time isn't a
passionate about
barrier.
WA
Time
for.
is
Well, it is a barrier though. You like to get promoted first, you need to be here for over a month. It doesn't. You could be doing nothing. You could be the bare minimum of activity, or you could be pouring your heart out. It still doesn't matter until that month's up. Then you can get promoted. That's how the system currently works right now. I mean, that's just how it works. The manual that's currently being revised. Yeah, I can look at the manual again if you want, and it will clearly tell me plus 1 month of activity. You know,
Yeah,
like I'm
the
lying
rank
here, that's what it
requirements.
says.
I think the one that's up right now has the fleet ranks, but I'm probably gonna keep the rank requirements pretty much the same.
Additional requirements. What's the point of having additional requirements? That makes no sense. But like optional requirements. Let's have a look at it again, so I can formulate my argument. Why isn't it pinned? Did you depin the? Did you delete the handbook?
Oh, wait, did I?
I mean,
not?
the old handbook was like incredibly outdated.
I can't scroll.
Oh yeah, I did.
I don't have access to it. So currently it's in work in progress, so we can neither confirm nor deny that. But I
Yeah.
do believe while reading through it, there was definite specific months and times.
Yeah,
placed
there-
in
Yeah,
there
I can
for
open it up
variation.
and read them off for any.
So I feel like those might need to be like if you're pouring like if you're clearly more active than somebody else, you should be rewarded for it. Is what I feel.
I'd
Yeah,
like to just point
there's
out.
possibility to circumvent certain requirements in special cases for sure.
Maybe just don't put a hard time. Like say an extended period of activity. Don't put like 1 month of activity. You know, just keep it vague. Keep it like up to the higher ups.
I mean,
to
there could always
decide.
be we can always leave that in with the possibility of a like outlier, an exception to
Mhm.
the rule. Like it doesn't have to be 100%. Oh, you're a great member. You've shown great initiative. You are pretty much ideal, but we can't promote you for another 2 weeks. So suck it up.
Yeah, but then
We could
don't
literally-
don't make it so specific in the requirements. Then is what I'm saying.
I kind of like having the requirement
I
just
think the
to
specific
avoid.
requirement. I think the specific requirements is nice for the people who are not the outliers.
Yeah, but like,
While it
seems
is a
like there could be a
requirement,
lot of outliers though. Like, oh
But I
no,
mean-
perhaps let me rephrase this. People who would have been outliers won't be outliers because they don't directly see it, right? If they read the rulebook and they say, "Hey, I need to be here for a month for a promotion," that's gonna immediately dull their edge to try and push forwards, right?
But not
So-
really, because there's other
Yeah,
requirements,
so-
and then
What other requirements? The other requirements are all subjective. There's only one in there that is objective. You need to be active for a month. That's you can't get around that, no matter
yeah,
how
for
hard you try.
for the very lowest rank.
Yeah, which is the first rank people are going to be aiming for when they start at the bottom, right?
but
Those
there's
are
also the
context
fact
of my
that
discussion.
in the end, there's always a ranking structure. It's still up to the discretion of that officer to make that decision. Whether you hit that 1 month date, you may have been here a month just sitting here doing nothing. It's up to the discretion of that officer whether or not they promote you. It's
No,
not an automatic
But
thing.
his
my
point
argument
is
is
that-
you shouldn't be blocked of promotion before that month. You could.
His
be promoted
argument
in
is
2
that the
weeks.
newer member will be turned away from doing exceptional things if he sees the month
Yeah,
as
that's
like a
what it is.
deadliner. And I don't think that will be that big of a turnaway.
Wouldn't that mean that they just don't have a work ethic? If they're like, oh, this could take a month, I'm leaving.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but like, if there's no benefit to doing something, why do it?
but there is a benefit.
What's the benefit?
I mean, if they don't care enough to want to be an active part of the community without being able to instantly be promoted for doing one thing, I don't really see why we need them to be doing it.
You don't
Yeah,
want
I don't
ambitious
see the
people?
real
Why?
problem here.
Okay, I mean, look,
1
if
month
I'm in the
really
minority,
isn't-
that's fine. But I just don't, it's just if we want to encourage culture, I don't think this is the way to do it.
1 month really isn't a long time to be a part of something, and if you can't be like
I mean, a month is a long
actively-
time, actually.
I mean, if you can't be actively here for a month, I mean,
There
but
is
I
no
think
the
month
thing is that
requirement
they-
on the rank of warrior, by the way. So you can go from scout to
Oh.
warrior, and then it's 1 month for raider. Actually, I
Good,
looked
because
it
I
up.
think
So.
it's important to have.
I just don't see the
I
point
think
of
1
having
month
these
is too
barriers.
long for the first promotion.
Yeah, so I mean, you could get up to warrior within 2 weeks. I mean, right away. Honestly, if technically there's no time gate requirement, but I think the reason I put the months was chiefly, I think, because Numenor is one of the ones who brought this up the most, was because I don't want it to be just like totally arbitrary progression. I want them to be kind of like structured and leveled out in that way that it gives the ranks a little bit more like oomph, because it's like, oh man, like this guy's been here for a while, that's why he has this rank. Like it's not just like
Yeah, but
vague,
surely it would be.
Do we not have like
but
a
I feel
years of
like it's
service
more
kind of thing?
important- It's more important to not be here for a while, but to do things in the time you're here, right? So if we want to have something specific, I think it should be for more of the things that are above and beyond, as opposed to simple existence.
That's where the leader's discretion comes in.
You
Yeah,
know
but
what
then
we could do
the
that
time
may
barrier
solve
still
your
blocks it,
problems?
though.
What may
Yeah.
solve what you're
Solve
talking
all
about
of my woes.
is put in the description of the rank, like put in something saying that.
I could
Like,
put recommended time, or I already
No, no.
have in the ranks where it says at the beginning, before I list all the ranks, that certain rank requirements can be circumvented by hard work
But-
and demonstrated
but I mean,
stuff.
I just think we
being
just
here-
shouldn't have it so overt.
but I
I
mean,
think that if
being
there's
here
something
and-
in the ranks, like description of being promoted, saying something along the lines of, "This isn't like set in stone. There's a possibility that those who go above and beyond would be promoted
If
much
that's given
faster."
it like the
But-
head of the ranking system, then yeah, I would agree that that would make sense.
I already
I just-
have a little disclaimer in there that you can circumvent
just don't
requirements
see
if that's enough.
every- It just seems vaguely out of place that everything else is quite subjective, and then there's a number in there, which is the definite of objective.
Well, there's some objective things, like all the lore things say you have to know and be able to demonstrate, probably to a skald or to your superior officer, like knowledge of certain lore pieces. You have like I mean, there's a lot of subjectiveness. I'll definitely admit that, like things like demonstrated
I'm not saying
leadership
that-
potential.
yeah.
But
I
being
don't. I
here-
think subjectiveness is good personally. I'm not saying that it should all be objective. I think subjective is really good in this scenario. That's why I'm just concerned about having some too much objectivity.
But being here consistently and responding to roll calls consistently for a certain amount of time also just shows partly your dedication. I don't think someone
Yeah,
who
but
hasn't been
what
here
I'm
for
saying-
a month should ever be a raider, no matter if
Even
they're
if they, like-
reading everything on the forums.
I just okay, but then you just won't get any people doing that. I suppose.
And it
If
also
that's what you
creates
don't
time
want,
to
then
know the
yeah.
people.
I feel like you could meet a lot of people in a month.
I mean, yeah, that's
No.
why you've spent a month meeting people and being dedicated to WNA, and now you're able to actually.
We should institute a role in the future to give some like a temporary role you can give so that you can give a public guy a platform if they want to speak really quick. In the future, that might be a good idea. Because I like the text. The text is great. And it's all fine. But
There's so
sometimes
many
people
people
might
that
wanna
are
have a quick
already
argument.
talking though. Like we
Yeah, I
have.
know, but like I feel like it would just be good for in the future, just to have a role specifically set out for that to just give somebody talking permissions in here temporarily,
Like
and then
having a caller on our radio show.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. Let's see what the public opinion is.
I don't know. I like the
surveyed
whole
20
fact that they
people out of
can.
nowhere.
I like the whole fact that their questions come through text. It's a lot easier to read for when we're answering them.
I guess, but it also means it like it doesn't pop out to me. Like I'm seeing that I've been pinged a bunch. It didn't show up on my Discord, which is just a pain.
You aren't
Like-
paying attention to your Discord while you're talking here?
Why? What, I'm supposed to be staring at my icon lighting up every now and again.
No, like I've been
that's
staring
what's
at the
going
meat
on.
hall. I've been staring at the meat hall chat throughout this entire thing, even while I was in a league game.
I've
Like-
got like 7
And
Some
we
people
also
don't
have
have two
people-
monitors, okay?
We also have some people.
If I
Well,
had 2
okay, yeah, but
monitors,
we also had some people, Fold Mather during one of them, and then Soullight during this one, answering questions in the chat as people are asking them and talking to people during the chat while other knights are talking. Like
I
we have
understand
plenty
that,
of
but,
people
you know,
looking
some-
at the chat and waiting for people to talk and ask anything. And
I just thought my presence here would be better than because I have work I need to do, but I'm gonna do the work while being here. I feel like that would be better than just not being here, you know. It's like,
For
I
our
just- I
sake,
just-
yes.
So you know,
I don't know.
And
I
also, we were
think
playing
we have
League
enough.
earlier, which means we wouldn't be able to check in the chat anyways. You were talking about background games. We would not be able to check the chat that way. So
I was checking the chat when I was playing League.
you alt tab all the time, or do you have dual monitors?
I have more
Not everybody
monitors
has
that I
those.
could plug in, but I have dual monitors.
Ship
And
me a
yes, I
couple
know
of monitors.
Ulf just said that, but I could theoretically. We have too many monitors, and if you want one, I could mail it to you. You just pay for shipping and handling.
That's
But
disgusting to mail.
deal with it. Anyways, so
$500 in mailing easy.
we have people who are always in the chat, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3, or whether we're all looking at the chat together. We always have someone in there, and that shouldn't be something that we should all like. For some ungodly reason, everyone is doing something else aside from looking at the possible like discussion, because like there's no point in having this whole thing public if we're not paying attention to what the public is saying. And how would we even know to give them those like 5 minutes of talking slash like that little pedestal that you were just talking about if we weren't paying attention to the chat? We'd never know.
Yeah, but if one person was
people
paying
to be
attention
reading
to
in
the
the
chat,
chat,
they'd
and
be able to tell other people that hey, this guy has something to say. As opposed
Exactly.
But this
And that's-
current scenario is like, whatever. If you don't want it, I'm not gonna push for it because it doesn't benefit me. So
I don't know. I
it
just
seemed like some people in the
think-
chat were getting upset that they weren't getting responded to. So I thought, oh, maybe we could fix that. But you know, maybe they don't need it. That's fine. I'm not gonna, you know, no biggie.
I think the thing is that they just wanted to say it, and like because Scorus's question got answered like almost immediately after he asked it.
What was his question?
His question was, "Is there a date on these?" And Solios responded immediately after when they're happening for more clarifications. Scorus said, "Yes, that's my question," and then he immediately responded.
Okay.
And Numenor's, we've been acknowledging Numenor through chat, but Numenor's just been talking constantly about like, for example, like agreeing with Ulf on the whole like oath thing, like agreeing with him in his stand.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
We
Yeah,
understand
let's
that,
talk
and we're
about
reading
it.
that.
All right, whatever.
My point is that we're not missing anything. If we're missing something, then I don't see where we're
Some
missing it.
people might be missing things. Like I'm currently missing things, and you know I can't really fix that.
Well, that's something that we
something-
should be calling out. We should be calling out the like questions, like we were in the first Fireside chat. Whenever Lightning asked questions, I was always like trying to like notify
I-
Vest and tell
I
him when a
would
question was
appreciate
popping up.
that if you would do that, so that I can bring my full attention while I'm writing this paper.
All right,
Oh
I
boy,
will
do
promise.
have term papers due in a couple weeks.
I
Yippee.
will promise to do that.
I am so grateful I cannot even comprehend what I require to even think of. giving you the proper satisfaction of doing that for me. Well, now
So
what?
is that all? Is that all that we wanted to talk about slash
We should
discuss?
really have like a schedule of things we're supposed to talk because we have no idea when we're supposed to end.
It's funny
think
you
we-
say that because I think you brought that up last time too.
I did bring that up last time. I'm gonna keep bringing it up.
Yeah,
Hint.
and we went on
hint.
and we went on a long discussion about something that we previously had multiple long discussions about and came to a conclusion.
We didn't come to a
about.
To be
conclusion
fair,
last
we
time.
we
came to
started bringing that up
conclusions on many
because we
things,
had
but
no
we've had second guessing. Like you second guessed the ranks even after we all agreed. Not
like.
well.
If
There's
people are
also the fact that
questioning
we
it,
don't
then
have,
the
like-
conclusion wasn't reached.
We
I mean,
don't
it's-
have an agenda either. Like if we had an agenda, we
would
wouldn't be
function.
reaching for all these outliers. Like
Guys,
we wouldn't be
I'm
reaching
gonna
for
invite you to my draft paper resolution. Better, and then we present. Nobody probably does multi-run here. Never mind.
All right. So what we can do going forward, and I'll volunteer to do this, is have like a secretary who brings the topics up for discussion. Basically,
Secretary.
you present it to me, and I'll keep it in my list, and we can go over it as we go.
and no one touch Ulf.
I'm all in favor of having
list.
someone
That
else take
sounds
care
like
of
a
that.
good idea.
Who does it though?
I'll
Vest
do it.
normally. I mean, Vest does everything,
It
right?
feels
So
like Vest would.
the
Vest
more
is
we
the
take
impartial.
off
We're
of him,
supposed to
the
be
better.
convincing Vest, right? Is that the point of this?
I mean,
The
he's
final say?
technically the supreme leader, but he
Technically,
never
he's
makes
supposed to be the
supreme
one who
decision,
brings
so
up the agenda, though.
that's why we're having this conversation, precisely because Vest doesn't want to just make
Look,
you
I'm
know,
not trying to throw
arbitrary
hands, but
personal
all you got to
decisions.
do is find the confidence within yourself to butt in while other people are speaking to truly get.
I don't think
ahead of
it's-
those.
I don't think it's an arbitrary personal decision. It's a literal agenda to speak about and get opinions, and to tell the public what's been going on. It's not personal. It's informational.
It's business.
It's
I
just
think
it
the
just seems to
ratio is
work
one-
so well because I bring up some kind of usually like I mention something at the beginning and then somebody just goes on a tangent and it just kind of gets everything going for like an hour is often how it goes.
I feel
Right,
like
but then
don't
we
really-
don't get to talk about.
Yeah,
the fact
I
is
mean,
that we're
we don't get a
talking for-
conclusion out of it though. Is the problem?
I
Think
I
about
don't
this,
think
like,
it's
so, like,
possible to get conclusions out of these because it's not like nobody just goes like after like 20 minutes like oh yeah actually yeah like I feel like that doesn't really happen. It's just everybody shares their opinions and then
here's
just
the-
kind of
No,
ends.
we're
But I
true
thought we were
Vikings
supposed
in the
to be-
aspect that we're too stubborn.
I thought
Here's
the
the
goal
thing, is
here
that-
was that you'd bring up a topic, one side would argue their thing, another side would argue their thing, and then eventually when the conversation died out, you'd pick which one you thought was better. I thought that was
Solite
the point.
literally tried to get us to stop talking about the oath and move on to something else. That would have been a perfect time to have like brought in some new agenda to like talk about.
You guys
something
are
else
talking
new
the
that we should be
entire
talking
time
about.
though.
Well,
Like
you
you
guys
guys are
thought-
talking
we
over
had-
each other the entire time.
We had multiple times when we weren't talking though, like many quiet times. And if we have something like an agenda to do that, then it would be a perfect reason to stop. Like, okay, stop, guys. We have like several other topics we need to talk about, and then everyone would have to accept that. Like,
I
if they
know,
don't, then
I had a pretty difficult time like even like jumping in on a topic, let alone like trying to like diverge to something else. Like
you need a gavel. So
you
can
need
slam.
more
Grab on
confidence.
the whip.
You need to be more
it's
confident.
not
in,
a
like,
confidence issue, please. It's literally just everyone talking really loudly all the
You just need to be
time.
less polite, obviously. Just jump in, even
You
if
not
people
wanting to
think
talk
you're
over the
out.
people is lack of
No, I
confidence.
can't
Yeah, that-
talk over people. It's like this is like a science issue. This is not like a personal problem.
We
They're
need
server
priority speaker.
Then I do
So-
have one solution for you. Mute
Why
the
is
person
he
who's talking.
So what a lot of groups have, and this is from experience with being on like little councils and stuff like that, is one person who's designated to move the conversation forward. So what they will often do is they will ask everyone else to be quiet, and then the secretary or the leader at that point will present the next topic. That's what I would recommend as possibly a solution for that, so we can actually move through different speaking points and not just trail through and not actually get any focused conclusion.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, like the reason I don't do like what you said, where it's like, oh, you know, then just like go pick whichever side is more, because usually I like to spend a lot of time afterwards, like thinking about it. Like, I wouldn't like make a decision like during the fireside chat.
I guess, but I feel like Ulf's thing makes sense, but if Vest doesn't want to like step up, or if there's some science stopping him from interrupting people, then who's going to be the secretary? Because Vest can't do it.
I mean, I can, but it just like
Can you?
we just have to establish something, some more orderly way of talking, maybe.
We just need a signal to stop talking, really.
But that's what. But that's the thing is, you said you couldn't do that because you didn't want to talk over people, didn't you?
I'm not saying I don't want to talk over people. I'm just saying like these things have been so
You
chaotic.
scientifically can't.
There was definitely science invoked at some point. I recall vividly, similar to how I recall that Supreme Leader was late by 21 minutes to this glorious Fireside show, which I will never forget. No, but if you like if we want to have a secretary and we want Vest to be the secretary, like, can you, like you said that you couldn't do it earlier. Can you
No,
do it
I'm
now?
happy to do it. I'm just saying that it's difficult to do because it's not like I'm just saying that these are really chaotic. So it's difficult to do that without some I don't know, some kind of method to make it so people aren't like arguing and yelling over each other the entire time.
Look at this Stellarus nerd. More like bad games. Oh, absolutely barbaric.
Just
But
have
yeah,
everyone
yeah,
agree to like be silent when requested.
I mean, I would have loved to have said a number of things tonight, but I got talked over it literally every time, so I'm 100% in favor.
You gotta be louder.
No, that's still not the problem.
Speak now. I
There's
know.
nothing to say though.
I
All
know.
the topics that I'd like to talk about, we've moved on from.
I think next time, like Numenor said, we'll just have like a talking stick, and then Vest can talk, and we'll open it to everyone because there's not really a reason to restrict it.
Yeah, we
As
should.
somebody who's an incredibly confident public speaker, I think you guys all need to just get good. Just saying.
You mean just some kind of
for God's sake.
Discord mechanism for who can talk?
TeamSpeak had something like
No,
that. I
I
don't know.
mean,
about
might-
this.
basically just we set up questions that we
It's
want to
pretty
talk
boring, man.
about. You state the question or something, and then like ask a couple people to state what they think, and then just move on or whatever.
How hard is
I
it
think-
to remove and assign roles?
Like, yeah.
I think you could do
There's
it
no
like
need for that,
if-
really.
if Vest is secretary, he introduced the topic, and then we talk about the topic for however as long as he wants it to, and then at the end of the topic we pause and we say, let's go down the line and see what everybody's opinion is. At the end, I feel like that might be a good way to get a
But-
conclusion out of it, as well as
But
have
once the
everybody
last
around-
person speaks, the first or second might have a different opinion based on what that last person said, and then you lose out on that discussion point.
Yeah, but like you gotta make some sacrifices. I mean, we could keep going down the list over and over again, but like eventually people are gonna get bored. Like, I'm just trying to think of it like some people say they can't speak, and we need to give them a way to speak, but you know, it's not. We're not gonna be using a talking stick. I mean, I think we're adults here.
As I recall,
That is your
Elson, you're
first
17, you're
mistake.
an adult.
What do you say? I'm still. I'm not all quite. You're right. I'm not quite. An
Aw, he's a
I'm-
youngin.
If I was in England, I'd be an
Younglings.
adult, but I'm in filthy British Columbia where the drinking age is 19. What a pain. Means I just have to buy it through one of my Indian friends. Anyways, it's unrelated. My crippling alcoholism is completely unrelated. Look, see, here's a perfect breaking point. The Vest could step in and say, I think we've done it here.
We are at an hour and 27 minutes, so we could certainly end if nobody else has anything to bring up.
I'd like to point out one thing. If anyone is still interested in signing up for tomorrow's friendly 5v5, I think I have up to 4 spots left. For those who are interested, you can just message me.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Hashtag no spots. Hashtag.
I vote the clan food should be tacos.
I
I
believe
vote.
it has
should
to
be
be
curry.
pizza, considering our leader.
I vote pizza. I like pizza.
You guys are all
Tacos.
degenerates.
I can even link you a
Taco
video
pizza?
of the
Oh,
kind
God.
of pizza I like.
You're gonna
Okay.
link a video, not a picture.
Well, on that note,
What is that
I'm
supposed
gonna
to
end
mean?
this
Whipped
stream.
cream flows like waterfalls.
So thank you guys for showing up.
As we move into the cheese pizza territory, that's a good spot to stop right there.
Remember, keep
Exactly.
this topic in mind. The next time we'll
And-
be starting the debate with the cheese pizza being possibly the symbol of our.
And Vest Band.